Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Olmsted, and this is for ID 8210 with Dr. Paula Porter. And today we are going to talk about two different instructional design systems and their influence on media theory. The first thing we are going to do today is to discuss the two instructional design systems and then summarize these two approaches so that we may gather a good understanding of what they are and how they work and are applied to the field of instructional design. The two approaches we have chosen for this examination are the ADDIE model, Branch 2009, and the Dick and Carey model, Dick and Carey 1996. The ADDIE model was first created in the 1970s by Florida State University's Center for Educational Technology and was initially created for military training technologies. The ADDIE model is an acronym for its five-stage process. A, analyze. D, design. D, develop. I, implement. And finally, E, evaluate. Let's walk through those 5 steps and understand what happens during each of them. Analyze is the process of assessing what needs to be learned. Design is the process of figuring out how it needs to be learned. Develop is the process of creating the instructional materials. Implement is the process of putting the design system in practice. And finally, evaluate is the process of evaluating the effectiveness of the new system, Branch 2009. The Dick and Carey model was first written about in Walter Dick and Lou Carey's book, The Systematic Design of Instruction in 1978. This model uses a systems approach following a 9-step process to look at instruction as a system rather than a series of isolated sections. This linear model starts with identifying the instructional goals. Then the instructional designer must conduct instructional analysis and identify learner behaviors and characteristics. Afterwards, the designer must create performance measurable objectives and develop criterion in which to test said objectives and items. Then develop their instructional strategy, and then develop and or choose the instructional materials they wish to use. Afterwards, they develop and analyze the material's effectiveness, first conducting a formative evaluation and then a summative evaluation. The Dick and Carey model then suggests internal designers return to learner traits in order to improve the material for the next iterative evaluation. One of the unique things about the Dick and Carey model is that it encourages revision and iteration throughout the development process, allowing the designer to improve along the way. Dick and Carey, 1996. Secondly, we are going to discuss these models' influence on media theory. Now that we have a good core understanding of what these instructional design approaches are and how they can be used, we are going to look at their impact in media, especially pertaining to media theory's application within education. We're going to examine 2 different studies done on these approaches' influences on media involvement within the classroom. Let us examine a study showing the ADDIE model and its influences on media theory. The first study examined ADDIE's influence on interactive learning in a vocational high school and using it to promote interactive multimedia and learning materials. The study showed us that using the ADDIE model to develop application of this type of media in the classroom met and excelled on proposed objectives and the learning outcome. The ADDIE model is commonly used for technology-based development. The ADDIE model has become a standard for distance learning education programs and commonly applied in e-learning and training in corporations as well. It is commonly used for adapting new interactive media into the classrooms and developing new courses. Baharudin, 2018. The second study we looked at the Dick and Carey's model's influence on media theory, specifically evaluating its effectiveness as a tool for measuring the success of audiovisual media application and how this applied to a student's learning achievements. The method used in this instructional setting were first designed with the Dick and Carey model and then developed and improved upon using quantitative analysis. The Dick and Carey model is commonly used to measure learning achievement when using audiovisual media. Dick and Carey model was first used to adapt to audiovisual media in learning achievement. It has been a successful tool in measuring the effectiveness of adaptation of new multimedia in various classrooms and providing formative direction for new learning materials using media. Triastuti, 2017. Now that we have a pretty good grasp of our two design approaches, and we have looked at how they have affected and influenced media and its adaptation in instruction, let us compare and contrast these approaches. We're going to begin our Venn diagram with looking at the ADDIE model and the Dick and Carey model. To start out with, let us look at how these approaches are similar. They both begin with identifying the problem we are trying to solve for and the goals we are trying to achieve with the design. They both involve evaluating the effectiveness of the instructional material that is being created and are both considered effective collaboration models for use in collaborative instructional environments. Both of these models have linear systems and require traversing through the steps in a linear fashion. Lastly, both models are focused on an input-output methodology system in order to create materials. When we look at how they differ, the ADDIE model focuses more on iterating the developed material than learner behaviors. In addition, evaluation occurs more at the final phase of the model than throughout the steps. And the ADDIE model is a sequential model with 5 dependent parts. Adversely, the Dick and Carey model focuses on learner behavior and evaluating effectiveness throughout the journey and via the learner behavior. Evaluation occurring throughout the model is the key difference in the Dick and Carey model, and it is also considered a more direct and detailed method with 10 different phases. Branch 2009 and Dick and Carey 1996. Lastly, now that we have compared and contrasted the two different instructional design approaches, we are now going to do the same for their theoretical influences and how they have influenced media theory, especially as it relates to instructional development and using media to further develop the instructional design field. We are again going to set up our Venn diagram to compare the ADDIE model's influence on media theory and the Dick and Carey model's influence on media theory. Both models have affected media theory in several discernible ways. The primary two ways that we're going to talk about are that they both are used to create instructional materials using various media and focus on evaluating the effectiveness of this media and analyzing its improvements and designing improvements to its application within the instructional environment. The ADDIE model has become the industry standard and a base for many e-learning and instructional models. The ADDIE model also influences media theory because it allows for controlled content with integrated media to achieve the outlined outcomes and learning objectives. Branch 2009. As we identified the previously examined study, because of its more detailed nature, Dick and Carey model is an effective measurement tool for evaluating a media's effectiveness within the learning environment. And because of its quantitative nature, it also leads well into data-driven design environments for iteratively improving media's application in instructional materials. Triastuti, 2017, and Baharudin, 2018. Again, here are references for these materials and the different approaches. I thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.